You found yourself on another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United, and on today's episode, it wasn't easy, but the Cleveland Cavaliers were able to grind it out in Memphis, getting a good win on the second night of a back-to-back, and De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis not in the All-Star game is the ultimate disrespect to the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to vent about that and break down the Cavs win coming up on Let 'Em Know Kings United.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the post-game reaction podcast of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. This is Let 'Em Know Kings United. Let 'em know, Nation. Normally I do the feather in the crest music after the intro music, but I'm not doing that today because I am not in a really good mood. In any event, you already know what time it is. Welcome to another edition of Let 'em Know Kings United, your Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls post-game reaction podcast. I am your host, Scarlett Weisberg. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show, and you can find Let 'em Know Kings United, which is 100% completely free and available on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio Public, Pandora, or wherever else you want to listen to this show. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can. Please turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you want to listen to this on. It is an awesome way to support the podcast, and I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in, and I want to thank each and every one of you because you have helped to get this show over 400 plays. I think we are 432 plays deep as of right now. It is absolutely incredible, and it is absolutely amazing. I want to thank each and every one of you, the members of Let 'Em Know Nation. Now, before I even get into talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers grinding out the win over the Memphis Grizzlies 108-101, I want to talk about the All-Star reserves because I think the Sacramento Kings got royally screwed. Yeah, I said it. They got royally screwed as far as the All-Star voting is concerned. Now, as far as Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell was the only Cleveland Cavalier that got in. Jared Allen got snubbed. He got snubbed as far as the All-Star voting. Now with Joel Embiid possibly out with a torn meniscus, there might be a chance that Jared Allen might get in. I've been hearing reports that Scotty Barnes for the Toronto Raptors might be the injury replacement. Well, if that's the case, that's a bunch of BS. That is a bunch of BS, and here's why. I know damn well that Jared Allen is playing much better basketball than Scotty Special Ed Barnes. I'm sorry, but if you are a Toronto Raptors fan, if you're rooting for Scotty Barnes to be an all-star, power to you. Power to you. I am just saying for the absolute fact that Jared Allen is playing much better basketball than Scotty Barnes combined. But I got literally no problem with the Eastern Conference. A slight issue with Jared Allen out of like the Eastern Conference reserves, but I got no problem there. As for the West, y'all are pathetic. Y'all are pathetic. This voting system is a complete joke. An absolute complete joke. Because I got no problem with Steph Curry being in it because he is a legend of the game and the greatest three-point shooter that God has ever created. And by the way, Steph Curry, you are going to get smoked by Sabrina Ionescu in the three-point shooting contest with her versus him. Yeah, I said it because Sabrina Ionescu is better than Steph Curry because the WNBA is better than the NBA. Based on my opinion, I'm being 100% completely honest here. Am I going to do a WNBA post-game reaction podcast maybe in the future, but I'm just saying I think Sabrina Ionescu is a better talented player than Steph Curry, but that's beside the point. Anthony Edwards, I got no problem with. Kawhi Leonard, I got no problem with. Paul George, he has been healthy for the most part this season. I got no problem with. AD, I literally got a problem with. But Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker, I have absolute problems with. Now, Anthony Edwards, he has a legitimate claim to be an all-star. And I get that the Minnesota Timberwolves have been the number one team in the Western Conference for most of the season. But you sit here and tell me that Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns deserve to be all-stars more than the clutch player of the year, De'Aaron Fox, and the best damn center in the NBA right now, who is leading the NBA in rebounds, Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis is the leading rebounder of the NBA, and you sit here and tell me that he is going to get snubbed? He is going to get snubbed from the All-Star voting while Karl Anthony Towns, who's nothing but a fake Devin Bum Booker, who's a fake scorer nonetheless. And then you put Paul George in there, which I have absolutely no problem with. But Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns, you mean to tell me that those two people deserve spots than the clutch player of the year, De'Aaron Fox, and Domantas Sabonis? That is disgusting. That is disgusting. That is pathetic. That is absolutely embarrassing. And that is disrespectful. You know what? De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, if you are listening to this, you two better go crazy tonight when you go to the Indiana Pacers. And ironically, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. In my honest opinion, De'Aaron Fox and Domas should have been at Gainbridge Fieldhouse representing the Western Conference for the All-Star game. But Sacramento gets no respect. Right? Sacramento to the NBA is the laughingstock. Right? Sacramento to the NBA is like a charity case. Well, you know what? We made the playoffs for the first time in 16 years last year, and you still don't give us any respect while you give us the Golden State Warriors, which is the GOAT playoff series of the decade. Yeah, I said it. It wasn't a year. It was a decade. So, you know what, NBA? Have fun with your Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and the NBA All-Star Game, because I'm not watching that crap. You know what the NBA All-Star Game is? It's a fake-ass charity case. Yeah, I said it. A fake-ass charity case. If I was the commissioner of the NBA, I would damn sure put De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis over Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker. What a joke. What a joke. De'Aaron Fox, Domas, you better go crazy in Indiana because y'all deserve to be in the All-Star game. It's very unfortunate that the NBA gave both of you and the Sacramento Kings disrespect. It's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing. Have fun with your All-Star game in Indiana NBA because I'm not watching it. Maybe I might watch the three-point contest. Maybe I might watch the dunk contest. But as far as the NBA All-Star game, all I can say is screw that garbage. Screw that because you got the wrong players in the Western Conference. It should have been Karl Anthony. It should have been Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, AD, who, by the way, the LA Lakers just got back to 500. You give them 2 All-Stars. Minnesota, you give them 2 All-Stars, and Sacramento gets none? None? What the hell does that tell ya? The NBA is prioritizing big markets and big cities and leaving cities like Sacramento in the dust. And that is pathetic. That is pathetic and disrespectful to the game. I don't know who's in charge of the NBA All-Star voting system, but that is an absolute joke. So you mean to tell me that Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and Anthony Davis deserve to be All-Stars than Domas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox? Okay. Watch them rest up in the second half and watch them dominate in the playoffs. And then maybe tonight against the Indiana Pacers, they will win against the Indiana Pacers and laugh straight at the face of the commissioner because De'Aaron Fox and Domas are rightful NBA All-Stars. I'm going to call them All-Stars the rest of the season because that's what they are. And the fact that the NBA disrespects them, disrespects the Sacramento Kings, and disrespects the entire city of Sacramento is an absolute joke. Disgraceful. I feel bad for De'Aaron Fox, but I certainly feel bad for Domantas Sabonis because, in my opinion, Domas definitely deserved to go to be or Domas deserved to be in the All-Star game. De'Aaron, it was 50-50 for me. He slid off in the month of January, but he had a legitimate gripe. Domas, I thought he definitely deserved to be in the All-Star game, and the fact that the NBA doesn't recognize that is a joke. So have fun with your All-Star game, NBA, because I'm not watching it. We need to take a break. I got to calm down. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers grinding out a win against the Memphis Grizzlies. That's coming up next on Let 'Em Know Kings United. We're back. Had to take a deep breath because sometimes when I do this show, my stress levels get a little bit too high, mostly because of my passion for my sports teams that I cover. I still think that the NBA All-Star voting system is a complete joke, and De'Aaron Fox and Domas definitely deserve to be in the All-Star game. But in any event, we are going to talk about a win to switch gears a little bit, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers getting their fourth straight win, 108-101, against the Memphis Grizzlies, where Donovan Mitchell dropped 25 points and 7 assists for their fourth straight victory and 12th in the last 13 games. Now, before I even get into the numbers about yesterday's win for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I want to once again give credit to the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, I gotta tell you, these guys are so shorthanded, it's not even funny. All they got is Jaren Jackson Jr. and a bunch of G League and two-way players. But you know what? They are gonna get credit and respect for me because Taylor Jenkins, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, got those players ready and playing hard. They are playing their hearts out right now, despite the fact that they are shorthanded, despite the fact of no Ja Morant, despite the fact of no Desmond Bane, despite the fact of no Derrick Rose, among all other injuries. You only got one starter left, and that is Jaren Jackson Jr. And the fact that you made this a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, that's something that not only I admire, but it's something that I totally respect. So Memphis Grizzlies, you guys get credit. You guys give credit to me. Kudos to you for playing your hearts out. But as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers, I thought they turned it up, especially in the second half, particularly on defense. And besides, I should say, Donovan Mitchell, a lot of guys impressed for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Karis LeVert was really, really impressive. 16 points coming off the bench. DG scored 9 points and added 7 assists in his second game since returning a fractured jaw that sidelined him for 19 games. He had 19 points the other night in a home victory against the Detroit Pistons. Now, there was one guy that didn't play for the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, and that was Evan Mobley. He sat out for Cleveland while the Cavaliers are watching his minutes after he returned this week from knee surgery. So, the first thing that I want to say about Evan Mobley sitting out is I completely understand the move. I mean, you're coming off a knee surgery, which was supposed to be an 8-week timeline. Typically an 8-week timeline, right? He came back around 2 weeks earlier than expected. I guess you could say that, because if it was 6 to 8 weeks, then maybe you could say that Evan Mobley came back 2 weeks earlier. And I got to tell you something. For Evan Mobley to sit out, that is a smart thing if you are the Cleveland Cavaliers coaching staff, because with how special Evan Mobley is and how big he impacts the game on the defensive side of the floor for Cleveland, they didn't want Evan Mobley to get another big injury, and that would not be good. Speaking of injury, Jared Allen, who, in my opinion, deserved to be an all-star along with Donovan Mitchell, but that's beside the point. He finished with 14 points and 9 rebounds yesterday, snapping his 16-game double-double streak, which was absolutely impressive. He set a franchise record, something that I believe no Cavaliers center will ever break in the next few years. So congratulations go out to Jared Allen for setting that record. He left 3 minutes into the third quarter because of an injured left ankle. He did not return to the game, and JB Bickerstaff said after the game that he did not have any update on the center on Jared Allen's injury update. I hope I get an update sooner rather than later, but I don't have one as of this recording. Max Strus finished with 11 points and 10 minutes. The Cavaliers were in for a hard-fought battle with the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies were in one possession in the latter stages of the fourth. Cleveland outscored Memphis 10-4 in the closing 3 minutes to push it away. The Cavaliers also benefited from a stronger defensive performance in the second half, holding Memphis to 22 points in the third and 21 points in the fourth. In the first half, they gave up 27 and 31. So it was a tale of two halves for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That first half, Memphis had the advantage of the first half because of a 31-24 second quarter. The first quarter, it could have went either way, but I thought Memphis won the first half and Cleveland won the second half. JB Bickerstaff said, I thought our guys did a good job just showing resolve. Obviously, we were much better in the second half. Our defense is what makes plays, because you know what? Maybe it was the second game of the back-to-back for Cleveland, coming off an impressive win against the Detroit Pistons and also a signature win against against the LA Clippers the other night. I thought in the first half we looked, and I'm speaking of Cleveland here, I thought we looked tired. I thought we looked exhausted. I thought we looked like we were not ready to play, but I want to give credit to where credit is due, and I want to give credit to the Cleveland Cavaliers for the way they came out in the second half. They turned it up on defense, and that defense turned into offense, and that's what you love to see, especially against the Memphis Grizzlies team who, like I said, had nothing but G League and two-way players, and I thought the Cleveland Cavaliers did a really good job of staying together, staying within their game plan, and showing resolve. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't pretty, but you know what? Good teams find a way to grind out wins. Good teams find a way to win these type of games. But I do want to say, though, the Cavaliers need to learn to not give these teams hope. We almost fell into the trap against Detroit the other night, and I thought we fell into the trap again against the Memphis Grizzlies, because you know why? The Grizzlies were dominating for most of this game. I thought the Grizzlies were the better team offensively. I thought the Grizzlies were making more shots than us. I thought they were more connected than us. And simply put, I thought the Memphis Grizzlies were playing harder than us, especially in the first half. Now, credit to Cleveland for turning it up in the second half and finding a way to win. But listen, this ain't gonna be easy. This ain't gonna be easy now. And now with the fact that Jared Allen could possibly be out for a couple of games, that puts a lot of pressure on Damian Jones. Now, of course, I don't know if that's the case, but whatever the case may be, that fourth quarter marked another game where Memphis could have made a closing run, but was unable to put together enough stops to stay with the opponent. Whether it's because of injuries that have decimated the Memphis starters or just the trend of recent games, Jared Jackson Jr. said they need to tighten up things. I think it's just a coincidence. A lot of opponent stars have great players get going late. We've got to make sure that we take care of their tendencies, and he added, it's definitely tough when you are up late and let the game slip away. The Grizzlies had the lead, but they allowed us to get back in the game. And once that happened, credit to Cleveland, they took advantage of it. 47% for the field for Cleveland, 41% for Memphis. The rebounds were 48-43 in favor of Cleveland, including 10 of those on the offensive glass. The assist numbers, a slight advantage for Cleveland, 26-25. The steals were 9-6 in favor of Memphis. The blocks were 12-8 in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies. The points in the paint were 46 each. The fast break points were 22-14 in favor of Cleveland. Donovan All-Star Spider Mitchell led the Cleveland Cavaliers in scoring. Of course he does. He leads the team in scoring basically each and every night. 25 points, 10 of 19 from the field with 7 assists. Darius Garland, in his second game back, he played 24 minutes, shooting 4 of 10 for the field and 9 points, but he also had 7 assists and 2 rebounds and also had a steal. Jared Allen, he had a 16-game double-double streak snapped, but he is still an all-star caliber player, even though in my opinion that he got snubbed as the NBA All-Star reserves were voted in. But you know what? I'm not going to argue as far as like the Eastern Conference because I literally got no problem with Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Bam Adebayo, and Paolo Banchero, among others, in it. But no Trae Young, though? Like, come on, that's criminal. I'm not going to lie to you. But as far as Jared Allen, he finished with 14 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. Off the bench, Karis LeVert was absolutely outstanding. He finished with 16 points, 6 of 10 for the field with 3 assists and 2 steals. As far as the Memphis Grizzlies, Jared Jackson Jr., I got to give that man credit. He has been the lone starter for Memphis, and he's been playing like it. 25 points. He was 2 of 6 from three-point range, 3 of 4 from the field with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and 3 big-time blocks. Scottie Pippen Jr. did really well for Memphis. He finished with 10 points with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Williams had 17 points for Memphis, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block, shooting 5 of 10 from the field. Sandy Aldama, I like this kid. He finished with 18 points, 4 of 7 from three-point range with 9 rebounds and 3 assists. Look, good win. It wasn't easy. It was a battle, but the Cavaliers were able to grind it out. But one piece of advice. I understand that you want to double team Jackson, and that's probably your game plan. But you got to know your personnel, Cleveland. You got to know better than that. Because with Jared Jackson double teamed, you are allowing guys like Gigi Jackson and Sandy Aldama to get open. I would be more cautious of KYP. Know your personnel, because if you double team Jackson, it allows a shooter to get open on the kick out. Having said all of that, what a way to grind out a win against a young, scrappy Memphis Grizzlies team who deserve credit. Who deserve credit because of how hard they played. But it's not about Memphis, it's about Cleveland. They got 4 straight wins, and the train keeps on rolling. That's going to do it for today's edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. You can find this show on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio Public, Pandora, or wherever else you want to listen to this show. Give the show a follow on those platforms. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. I'm your host, Skylar Weisberg. I thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time for another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United.